Good morning, friends, wherever you are, and welcome to today's Cichlids and Coffee live stream. And I hope wherever you are, you're having a great cup of coffee, or whatever your favorite beverage might be. I will be your host today, Ben Ochart. For those of you that are baseball fans, please don't be upset with me, but this is the team that my son is now working with. So you're going to be seeing some Boston gear. And I bleed Dodger blue, but I am going to be a Boston fan for as long as his contract is there. All right. So let's see who we have here. And I appreciate you folks being a little patient. I'm a couple minutes behind schedule, but here I am. Angelo, hey Angelo, in the house. First on the chat. Thank you, my friend Cat Sailor. Good morning, Angelo and Cat Sailor. And hey, Michael Machos in the house. Hello to you, my friend. Let's see here. Cichlid Kings, hey buddy. Thanks for that email. I appreciated that. Nice photos. And for those of you who are not that familiar with live streams, the moderators are the ones who keep everything rolling right. And of course, that includes Cichlid Kings and GP and Dennis Riddell and Jerry Martin. And let's see, we have other moderators. Of course, we have Zen Ginger, if Zen's ever around. But at any rate, we have some great moderators. Hey, Paul Newman in the house, and Andy's here. Hey, Andy. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And Brian Park, good morning to you as well. Hey, Jerry. Good to see you, buddy. All right. Hey, Dave. I'm going to get to some of your questions and comments in a minute. Andrew. I live for a change. What? Live for a change, opposed to the Monday replay. All right. Glad you're here. Glad you're here, Andrew. Glad you can make it. Midwest Aquatics in the house. Love Wisconsin. DSGF. Hey, nice to see you as well, my friend. Glad you're here. Hey, Terry. Love the guitar. As you know, I am in Music City. Hey, Dan. Dan Coates in the house. All right. Great group of fish keepers here. Gia Aquatic and Pets. We got some great folks in the house and more that will be joining in, I'm sure. So I have some things for you today, and I haven't been as prolific in getting out material, and I'll be honest with you. Here's the reason why. Yeah, I just gotta spend a lot of time with that little girl. What can I say? I mean, so time where I would have normally been making videos, I'm actually walking around parks and ponds and aquarium stores with that little young lady. So, hey, some news. If some of you have been considering picking up mugs, and I got a whole variety of mugs, bunch of shirts, hoodies, all kinds of good stuff. Spring is offering a special discount, and I'll share it right here. And if you use Friends and Fans 25, they're giving you 25% off on anything at my spring store. Now, moderators, if you can share the link to the Teespring store. So if anyone's considered getting t-shirts, mugs, anything really, you can get 25% off at the Teespring store. Just got this as an email from Teespring. So might be a good time to finally grab that mug you've been thinking about. So just something I thought I'd throw out there. Big shout out to my wonderful moderators who keep the channel oiled. they keep the finances rolling so I can keep producing content and do the fun stuff and produce what I produce. So thank you so much to my wonderful moderators for your support. Big shout out to you. And also, of course, my weekly big shout out to my friend James over at the Cichlids Shack. Time to rock out. You can get the fish that you see in this tank behind me. Over, guys. Anyway, the every African cichlid behind me, and the Oscars, and the Viejas, and the Nicaraguas, and a lot of the fish I have are from the Cichlids Shack. They're not just cichlids; they also have a lot of other stuff. You can pick up a 15% discount on any orders over 100 by using Shack Attack 15 for a 15% discount on orders over 100. Does not apply to shipping. You can also get 10% off on dry goods, or you can opt for the discount on shipping if you like. So check out the Cichlids Shack in Tempe, Arizona. I also have a video where I do a tour of the shack. I actually did a live stream from the shack. So check the shack out. All right, let's officially start this thing. What do you say? All right, so I'm assuming that we have good, I know we've got good audio. We've got good video too, I hope. Good video? Let me know. Video good? I'm going to assume it's good since no one's saying I can't see you. But, all right, just give me a video check and that will be awesome. I appreciate you folks showing up today on a beautiful Saturday. Hope the weather at your location is as nice as it is here. Now there's an actual specific Teespring. Now here's what you do. If you go to my if you go to the banner on my channel, if you're on a PC, you have to be on a PC. If you go to the banner on my channel, there's a little Teespring logo. If you click on that, it takes you right to my Teespring store. And anything you get from there, of course, helps the channel. Also, if you shop on Amazon, don't forget to use the amazon.com/shop/Ben Ochart, and that will get you to Amazon the same way you get there normally. But anything you buy while you're there gives a credit to the store. Doesn't change any of your, it gives you a credit to the channel and doesn't change any of your prices. You still get the same pricing. So great way to support the channel without having to put any money out of your pocket. But for those of you who insist on putting money out of your pocket, if you do get, if you super chat today for over $10, I will get you some Sarah food. Kind of a break even for me. I pay between $5 and $10 to ship this stuff out. It's crazy what cost of mail is. But $10 super chats, you can get a holographic channel sticker and the food if you like. Just something that I'll throw out there if you want to take advantage of it. So I'm going to take up your questions. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the chat, but first I want to share with you a short walk around the fish room so you kind of just see where I'm at, and we can catch up and be on the same page, and then I'll talk a little bit about the direction I'm going to be going in, based partly on some of the comments and advice that you gave me after the last few videos, and then we're gonna pick up your comments and questions. And thank you Andrew and Paul and the rest of you who have told me that the video is coming through clearly. I really appreciate that. So let's go ahead and give you a quick lap of the fish room, filmed about 15 minutes ago, which is why I was 2 minutes late. So all right, here you go. Let's start this week's lap of the fish room with the 210-gallon South and Central American tank. Maybe if we're lucky, the Salvini will come out of her cave. He loves it in there. Here's a chocolate cichlid. These are from Mexico. A beautiful green tear. Seems to be blossoming in this tank, putting on good size, color, getting a bit of an attitude, which is a good thing for a green tear. The green tear actually put a little more life into the Jack Dempsey. Interesting. There's that big vieja just lumbering around. Come on, come out, it's safe. Got two of these chocolates in here. Really love the way they sort of change color depending on, oh, there she is. They change color depending on what mood they're in. There's the other one behind the Oscar. Someone told me they caught a vieja while fishing in Florida. I guess they're either migrating north or people are just dumping them into the waterways. That's amazing. I was aware that they catch Oscar. You know, they'll catch red tiger Oscars right out of the waterways. You know, the canals and over in Florida. Just amazing. Now the Oscars, I'm pretty sure people just dumped them in the local water when they became too big for their 10-gallon aquarium. There's the firemouth, looking good. There's the little Nicaragua, taking a break from her standoffs with the firemouth. That Sun 704B, which I mentioned in my recent video, is doing great, and that's the intake right there with that homemade sponge filter, a little piece of Swiss tropical filter material. Oh, there's the Salvini going into her East Coast cave. She's got an East Coast and a West Coast cave. I tell you, I highly suggest that you folks consider adding a cave or two to your aquarium. It's a lot of fun to watch, and also you never know who's going to use it. You know, I didn't read anywhere that I should have caves for Salvinis, but that Salvini loves that cave. Well, there's the pleco. You don't hardly ever see that pleco. Likes to hide out. No fin damage, no body damage, so she's doing great. She's a female bushy nose. Well, here they go. Maybe they'll give us a little face-off, battling for the rock. There we go. Hey man, I'm from the east side. Where are you from? Hey, I'm from the west side. Throwing little fishy gang signs. My little pleco farm is doing great. Of course, if I approach it, they're all going to scatter. There's probably about 30 left in there, including a couple pretty big ones. But there you go, they all scattered. I've been farming them out to the bigger tanks like this 55. You can see a couple of them there hanging out. Been giving them a little bit of cucumber, and of course they get their pleco wafers. This one's got some great spots developing on him, starting with small around the head and then getting into bigger spots. There was a snowball in there that jumped, unfortunately, and that might have been the father of some of these plecos. So I'm hoping I'm going to be seeing some snowball varieties. All right, let's get into the 55 here. Let's adjust the light so you can see a little better. Also threw a little piece of cucumber in there. Plecos like it, the snails like it. Of course the corys eat everything, so I got a little albino in there. You see all the neon tetras are doing great. They love hanging low, usually under the leaves of some of these crypts. They like the cover, they like to be under cover. There's another pleco in the back there. They seem to be putting on better size in the bigger tank. But the plants are doing well, and I have, of course, with water changes, I've stuffed some phosphate pads into the hang-on back filter. That might be helping. And of course I got a cleaning crew in here. Love the rummy nose. The fish that school together the best, the rummy nose and probably the rasboras. I mean, the rasboras really do school. Of course the neons do too, but they're just great at schooling together. The Buenos Aires tetras will hang together a little bit, but for the most part they all kind of go their own way. The Buenos Aires tetras did destroy these plants I bought and put in, kind of like a plant experiment. So I've got to decide whether I'm going to keep Buenos Aires tetras or get rid of them, or just keep plants that they will not destroy. Find out which those are through sort of a hit and miss process. The black algae seems to be going back a little bit. As you know, I've got an experiment going on over here with some autos. Love these little autos. Really cute. There's 4 of them in here. I've also got some cucumber and some algae wafers. I got stuff in here just to make sure they don't starve. But the plant looks okay. It looks a little better, but I can't say that they've really gone after that bearded algae as aggressively as I would have hoped. So watch for phase 2 of this, which is going to include probably some nerite snails and some Siamese algae eaters, or SAEs as some people like to call them. And we'll see what kind of a change they create in the tank. But they love cucumber, that's for sure. I'm going to put some zucchini in there too. The live bear tank, which is all stirred up right now, but you can see they are active. Still having fry like crazy. Some of the fry are disappearing, which is no mystery, but there's always a new batch. If you look at the tummies of the females, there's always a new batch. This one's carrying a wafer, piece of a algae wafer that I put in for the plecos. There's a cucumber that got completely eaten by that pagoda snail. He just took control of it, didn't let go. That's a cute little guy right there. Here's one of the plecos in the betta duplex. You can see the dots on the body, from a finer dot to a bigger spot. A polka dot might have had a snowball as a. Oh, this one's flaring out here. This betta's challenging me. Little Dumbo betta. Oh yeah, you're a tough guy. Here's a duplex. Duplex mate. I've got to put a new almond leaf in there. The other almond leaf is completely decomposed down there. You can, through the behind the wood there, you can see one of the loaches. There's plecos and loaches on this side. There's one of the loaches back there. There's two of them in here. There's another pleco right behind the little piece of wood. This betta tank, as time goes on, I get a little bit more comfortable and experienced with betta. It's almost like the less you do, the better with the with the betta tank. It seems like I've had problems immediately after messing with it. So I'm going to be like just letting it season, adding more of the almond leaves, and not really messing with it much. This little candy colored guy has gotten so pretty. It's kind of blossomed recently. Feed them once a day, very small amount. I do drop some shrimp pellets and algae, some of the Sarah algae wafers in it, but the bettas don't really go after that. Several times a day they face off, but otherwise they kind of ignore each other. And I've heard from several betta keepers that it's kind of healthy for them to do that. Keeps them stimulated. Yeah, it's a little cloudy right now. They're just going crazy over the algae wafers that I drop in here. It makes no sense. The plecos don't even have a shot at it. But I do want to keep them well fed so they don't eat the fry. All right. Here's the 90-gallon rimless. Just like this 20-gallon rimless right here, it's a product from Glass Cages here in Nashville. Actually in Dixon, just north of me by 20 minutes. But this tank is doing well. I swapped out this plant in the back corner, and the other one had gotten pretty brown, so rather than have to clean it, I just pull it out, put it in a bucket with a little bit of bleach. The geos are getting very, very big. So is the AC Hecali. The small silver dollars are putting on some nice size. Everybody's thriving in here. Big blue Ochart. The old dude. See if we can catch that red shoulder. He loves hiding in the back, so he can tell when I'm filming. Come on out. Let me add some more light. See him right there. He's a good size. He intimidates the red-spotted gold severum. Red-spotted gold severum stays away from him. For filming purposes, it would be better to have more light on the aquarium, but these fish love to have a place to just sort of hang back and chill. That's a little bit less lit. With the bigger tanks, I don't really keep them that well lit. I keep them rather dim. For filming purposes like today, or for live streams, I will turn it up a little bit. Here's the 300. Everybody in here is thriving. Don't be alarmed if you see the Autopharynx tetrastigma on its side. He'll go to the top and go sideways so his good eye is facing down. Of course, he won't do it because I'm filming. This living stone eye has moved like 2 tons of substrate over and created a pit here in the corner. You can see how much substrate has been dug out. It's quite an amount. He's like a front loader. Planning, he thinks I'm going to be adding a female at some point. You have to admire his optimism. See the back filter, the intake pre-filter. I think one of the fish, and if I had to pick one, it would probably be this sand diver. Took a mouthful of the sand, of the substrate, and gravel, and you sort of just spit it right onto the filter. Now, if that pre-filter hadn't been on there, I'd have a bunch of sand inside the FX6. Hawk is looking spectacular. Trout continues to be the very dominant, even though the living stone eye, when he started building that pit, became more or less the tank boss. This eye biter is surprisingly mellow. He went through a little period where he was asserting himself, but he's kind of chilled out since then. The other fish, including that big Fusco and the gar, beautiful Kawingi, they're content just to hang around. Lithronops oculatus. When I went to go buy the auto catfish, I kept asking for oculatus. I was low on sleep. Guy kept looking at me like I was crazy. You mean autos? Yeah, autos. Those oculatus catfish. All right, that's the lap of the fish room. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. Well, there you go. Another week, another lap. I hope you enjoyed that. And certainly if you have any questions or comments, let's go ahead and take those up. I of course released a few videos this last week, and one of them involved the my strategy or my attempt at getting black algae under control. I have a few moving parts going. There's of course there are phosphate pads in the marine land filter. So those are going to help, and I think they are helping because the black-bearded algae in the 55 is as you may have noticed in the video you just saw, is actually looking in better shape than the black-bearded algae that I put into the 29 with the autos. Now the autos immediately started getting onto it, but didn't really attack it with enough voracity. I mean, there was interest, and perhaps that interest was in maybe some of the green algae that might also be on those plants. But they have since retreated a little bit. Now, in the meantime, I didn't want them to starve, so of course I was putting in some. Some wafers, and also you saw I'm using a little bit of cucumber slices. But so I think I'm going to be going into another phase on the whole project, and now after the autos have completed their quarantine period, pulling them out, putting them into the 55, and because I think they'll be happy in there, in that type of combination of fish, and then bring in some small Siamese, some of the Siamese algae, some of the SAEs, right, the Siamese algae eaters, because I've heard they will go after the black-bearded algae. So, and maybe a nerite, maybe move the nerite that's in the 20 into the 29, or maybe pick up another one or another two and put them in there. And let's see if that really does handle it. Now, in the meantime, reducing the amount of light, some water changes, and the phosphate pads are making a difference in the 55, as you might have noticed in the video. So there is progress. There is some progress on it. And I would like to have no black-bearded algae, and I certainly don't want it spreading in the aquarium. Overall, the aquarium looks very clean. I like it. And I've heard other tips, like, okay, when you add CO2, that'll make a difference. If you add fast-growing plants, they'll outcompete the black-bearded algae for nutrients, as opposed to, let's say, anubias, which are very slow-growing plants. So maybe somehow working out a way to get some of that val to survive, or getting some jungle val, or maybe adding a little bit of some duckweed, or putting a lot more Sprite in there. So there's a lot of things going through my mind, and a lot of it comes from tips from folks like you and people who watch the video. And some of you well, not you in particular, but some of the folks that watched the video were, some were teaching, but some were preaching. And it always fascinates me when someone will come in really hard, Well, that's not how you get rid of black-bearded algae. And so I want to thank all of you, because all of you had brought some value to the discussion, and I appreciate it. Even those of you who preach, I appreciate your sermon, and I am taking everybody's ideas and thoughts into consideration, and so that's sort of where I'm at on it. So let's take a look at your comments. And Jeff, I'm glad you liked the tour. Appreciate that. And Cichlid King says if they get hungry enough, the autos will go after it. Yeah. At the same time, I felt like I was walking a little bit of a tightrope. I didn't want to starve them. So because I know they can be a little fragile. I mean, they're just little teeny little guys, maybe around a ½ inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. I mean, they're little guys. So I didn't want to starve them. At the same time, I didn't see that much of an aggressive attack on it, so I said, okay, I'm going to throw some wafers in there, give them a little bit of cucumber, maybe get a hold of some zucchini, things like that. But so let's take a look at your comments and ideas, thoughts, questions, and take some of those up. Let me move over to the chat. There it is. All right. Now, even though what you're seeing is the current chat, I'm gonna scroll on a separate screen that I have on my computer and scroll back. I can pick up all of your questions here. Let me see. And by the way, if I missed any super chats, I'm sorry. I wasn't watching. Let's see here. Jerry, you're doing a honeydew list in the yard? Honeydew. If you're married, you know about the honeydew. Gabriel's glass box is in the house. Hello to you, Gabriel. Great name. Z-Zip did I miss you earlier? Hello, Z-Zip. Dave Rice, my wife wants our 400-gallon to be colorful and entertaining. Could I keep a green tear, gold psalm, firemouth, an electric blue acara with a large group of tiger barbs? Well, that would certainly be entertaining. The question is entertaining for the right reasons. Now, the tiger barbs would definitely be a bit of a dither fish in that they would, being fast, colorful, and a little bit nippy, they would probably keep everybody interested in them and not interested, for example, in going after the electric blue acaras, which would be my biggest concern in that combination, because they are relatively mellow, unless they're breeding, in which case they can, like any fish, can get a little protective. But I mean, I've got a firemouth, a Jack Dempsey, right, a green tear, Oscars. I mean, if there was ever a battle royale that should break out, I mean, a Salvini. I mean, if there's ever a battle royale tank, I mean, that would certainly be it right there. But I'm not seeing it. I mean, sometimes the chocolates have a few marks on them, you know, but for the most part, everybody looks decent, even the pleco that's in there. So it could work. Maybe get them young, and have them grow up together, and maybe that. Maybe that will help. For those of you that are on the chat here, if you have any comments for David, for Dave Rice, and happy wife, happy life. So, I mean, when you say color, you could go a lot of different directions. I mean, you could get a tank of apistos and have a lot of color. You could get a combination of red tiger, blues, and albino Oscars, and have some eye-popping fish. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. And in a 400-gallon tank, I mean, my goodness, you really have no. I mean, you could get rays, right? Some small rays. So you're going to have really no limit. Throw a bunch of plants and rocks and 200 neon tetras. I mean, you've got so many options there. But with barbs, I'm always concerned about nipping. So you'll end up, but with enough fish and the barbs distracting the rest of the fish and distracting each other in how many of them you're going to have, that actually could get pulled off. So any advice for Dave? Let him know in the chat. All right, I'm trolling the question. I am trolling through the chat. Peace and haps. Are you a Blue Jays fan? What? All right. I'm looking for your questions. Certainly, if you have any questions now, add them, and I will eventually get up to that section. Jerry's Fish Room. The Red Sox have been my lifelong team. For my 50th birthday, wife took me to Fenway Park for the first time, and when I got there, I teared up. That's amazing, Jerry. When you walk into a stadium, Fenway, Yankee, Dodger, Cubs, any of those legacy, what you would call legacy stadiums, it is a special moment. You come out of the tunnel, and it all opens up in front of you. It's pretty amazing. It really is. So I'm trying to figure out a way to get up onto that green monster. So I'm trying to pull some strings, seeing how I've got connections. We'll see. Maybe if the Dodgers do a interdivisional game and go to Boston, that would just be a dream. Let's see here. Jonathan Ramirez, it's sad and so irresponsible to dump, I guess non-native fish or I guess they meant non-native fish, yeah, in lakes or rivers. It messes up the, yeah. If you, I mentioned this, Jonathan, if you look into what's happening to the manatees like in the Gulf, because of the plecos, it's horrible. The plecos are eating the slime coat off of the manatees. The manatees are getting sores and infections, and it's just a complete dumpster fire down there. So, and I think they're offering like bounties on plecos. You can go in there, you catch them, you get a certain number of dollars, and you know, for how many you catch, and they're just trying to clean it out. But apparently, it's ideal conditions, so it's a rough situation. Jerry's Fish Room. Now that's an interesting point, Jerry. My Salvini spends most of her time in the cave, just like my Dempsey. Now, what I'm thinking, what you sparked in my brain there, is that the Salvini has claimed both caves, and so I'm thinking the Jack Dempsey might like a cave. I should probably add a third cave and see if the Dempsey can claim it. Maybe put it right by that rock that, even though I do like the Dempsey like, you know, cruising around, but you do want them to kind of have low stress. The stress with fish, you know what that does. That leads to disease and all kinds of other stuff. So maybe I'll add another cave there and see if the Dempsey takes occupancy. A lady Rorschach, I have no clue where you could get a blue Oscar. They sound beautiful. I didn't even know they existed until just recently, and I'd sure love to see some. And blue Oscars. Anybody know where you can get a blue Oscar? Let her know. I've never seen one with the cichlid jack. Jerry's Fish Room. I have 50 baby super red bristlenose babies. Wow. You're doing something right there, Jerry. I'm working out a fish deal with Whips World. We're talking to each other via email, and so we'll see where that goes. We'll keep it under wraps until it's ready to announce. But Whip and I are talking. By the way, for those of you that are Patreon members, check out the Patreon page. There's a new email that is only for Patreon members and provides direct, immediate access. Check that email out and feel free to use it. I think the first email I got was from John from Cichlid Kings. So that's something available to those of you who are monthly Patreon supporters. Starts for as little as $3 a month. All right, let me see. Dennis, I need to add a red devil. I've got to look into them some more. I saw one. I think I saw some red devils over at last time I went to the my aquatic critter here. Now, yeah, the name just kind of scares me. I've got Jack Dempsey, the prize fighter. I've got Green Tear. I've got I don't know. We'll see. Red Devils. Got to look into them. Got to do a little research on them. You know, I've seen a few white spots in the 20 tone. Those were probably nerite eggs. You know, a couple of you are commenting. Fish Ranch, talking about the nerite leaving eggs around. There happen a few little white spots, and then they disappear. So I don't know if the fish are just pecking at them and they're getting eaten right away. But I've heard that nerites can't really produce more snails, right? Unless they're in salty, brackish conditions that they don't hatch in fresh water. But I have seen a few little spots. So I don't think it's a male, but it just hasn't really been an issue. That could change, like anything in an aquarium. Let's see here. Sal Pal. Sal Pal. Hey, Sal Pal. Have I seen you before? Welcome to the live stream. I have a dwarf neon rainbow that has developed a curved spine. Oh, and doesn't eat anymore. Do you know what it might be? And is there a cure? I've never seen that cured. I've never seen it. The only thing I've ever heard when I've seen it is that it usually means that it's sort of the end. You know, you've got a fish with it's like a real bad arthritis. You know, like a real bad. I've when that type of curvature occurs, I just haven't seen it reversed. Now, if anyone on the chat here has any comments on that, a curved spine on a fish, I mean, they can last a while with that curved spine, but once that deformity starts, it's I've never heard of it being reversed. But any tips that you folks might have for Sal Pal, let him know in the comments. Cichlid Kings, his Autopharynx tetrastigma likes to move sand around. It's amazing how much they'll hold, and then sometimes it's funny because sometimes they'll rain on another fish, and you want to think was that on purpose? Is he like disrespecting that fish? It just snows on. Whip Squirrel loves the laps. I'm glad you do, my friend. Okay, let's see. Any other questions? Bring them on. This is your chance. Brian Park says that red devils are horrible. They get big, fast, will kill 10. What? Fast? And they killed 10 of my other fish in just a few weeks. They all grew up together and just got big, fast. Wow. Well, I don't know, Dennis. That's not a big endorsement for... Oh, Aquafunk concurs. No cure for curved spines. Sorry, Sal Pal. You just got to keep them comfortable, and just... if he starts to get picked on the way fish do sometimes, or they go after the weaker fish, you might want to take him out, let him live out the rest of his life in maybe a smaller tank. And yeah, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one. All right, let's see here. Any other comments? Ex-Kali Kev, I had a red devil, kept everyone else in a corner, put a divider in, showed him who's boss, gave him like 1 foot of my 125. That's a pretty major, pretty major timeout. So, Gia Aquatics and Pets, can mods help me? Yeah, whatever it is you're asking for, I hope they do. You know, Jackie, that's a very interesting comment that you've made, Jackie Moore, because my Jack Dempsey will go for a month. I'll not see him go after food. He will not go after food, and you kind of want to get worried. You certainly would be concerned with the African cichlids. You'd go, oh, wait a minute, what's happening? But you never see a sunken belly. You never see, that the signs that he's starving, and then suddenly he'll start going after the food. When I started adding some of that, the Denachi and some floating pellets that I picked up locally, and like sometimes if I change up the food, he'll get a little more interested. But otherwise, he cruises around, he pecks, kind of grazes, and isn't really, as opposed to the Oscars, which are splashing me with water right when I approach the tank, and the African cichlids, which I have to have a towel because they'll break the water surface. So interesting you say that. So maybe Jackie, maybe that's part of what, maybe that's how they roll. They're not that aggressive. So when it comes to feeding time, they sort of eat when they want to eat, and not a minute before. And all right. Yeah, Gay Aquatics and Pets. Go ahead and just re-note there what you're looking for, and maybe one of the moderators can help you. So don't forget that we've got that special spring discount going on right here, and you get up to 25% off on t-shirts, hoodies, all the different fish mugs that I offer. Everything is 25% off, and I think it expires like in 2 days or 3 days. So if you're ever thought about grabbing something, use that code, and friends and fans 25% off. They've never sent me something like that before, so I might even order from my store. And if you did a super chat of $10 or more, let me know if you'd like a holographic channel sticker and some Sarah food to go along with it. And like I mentioned, it's a bit of a wash. That's about how much it costs to ship it to you. But a way to sort of help the channel and score some free food. All right, so we're creeping up on the hour. Let me see if we got any other questions dying to be answered. Okay, it looks like Peas and Haps is answering. Aquafunk, there's no, you can't fight it. Don't bother. Don't try to stop. Don't think you can't. Don't fool yourself into thinking you can stop, because once they take control of your mind, it's that's it. It's end of game. Multiple tank syndrome, and it's away you go. Just hope you have a supportive spouse, supportive family. Because you're on your way. You are on your way. All right, Whip Swirl, let me know if you want the food and the sticker, one or both, and I will get some over to you. Be sure to send me your address again. I'm sure you've sent it before, but I try not to keep those. Let's see. There's a reason multiple tank syndrome is a popular saying in our hobby. And, it starts with, let me just try a couple peacocks. Get a flavescent, bicolor 500, a Benga Sunshine. Wow, those are pretty. And we're off to the races. All right, let's see here. Bob wants to know about those 55-gallon. Let's see here. Bob is asking about those 55-gallon stands. They're working fine. They're working fine. They're holding up. I'm not noticing any torque twisting or changing in shape. There was a little settling. I mean, you line up your tanks perfectly, and then you fill them up with water, and then you look and you notice, one of the lines is like the tanks don't line up quite as laser perfectly as they're like a little. So, and I think that happens with every aquarium stand. There's going to be a little bit of settling, right? So I think there's been a little bit of settling, but they're solid. Keep them dry. I mean, they're composite, right? Composite and particle board, and I mean, there's a reason why Walmart sells them for so little money. And when I was just getting the fish room started, it was really what was in the budget. But they're fine. They look good. They've got a lot of storage underneath. The open back, sometimes I gotta get a little house spider out of there, but they're doing the job. They're doing the job. So no complaints. No complaints. And they do clean off pretty well. You get a mineral stain on them or something. Yeah, you can just rub it out pretty easily. So no complaints from me. Mickey Senior. Hey, Mickey Senior. See here. I have a 60-gallon full of convicts, about 2 years. I put the parents in a 29-gallon. And I can tell most of the females color up the males, or what's up with that? Well, I'm not, Mickey, I'll be honest, I'm not your convict guy. Every time I'm this close to pulling the trigger on one, I read about somebody who bought two and now has 200. They're like rabbits, and maybe you're going through the same thing. So I think Jerry, aren't you like a big convict guy? Can you help Mickey out here with his question? I'm not really qualified to. I'm not really a convict keeper or can speak with any kind of experience about it. All right, let's see here. Hit me with a question. All right, let's see. Terry says that his Crebensis Sarge is losing his stripes and color. Well, first of all, that's a very cute name, Sarge. And my immediate thought is that maybe he had received a demotion. But when that happens, you can have a couple factors. You could have a fish that is not getting the right nutrients. Did you have a change in what you're feeding them? Did you change your maintenance schedule? Did you add or remove any fish, which might have changed the hierarchy in the tank, and now the fish is getting maybe a little bullied when you're not looking, or feeling a little bit intimidated? I mean, there's a lot of factors that might be at play, including the one that probably would be the worst case scenario, is that there's something going on, something internally with organs, some type of disease, a parasite, or maybe reaching that end of life, and a fish starts to break down. And one of the ways it breaks down is it loses some of its bright coloration. So, and that would be based, of course, on the age of the fish. So, a lot of moving parts there. I would see if you've made any recent changes, and if those changes are, coincident with this change in color. If any of you have any tips for Terry about Sarge, go ahead and share them. We can start a Save Sarge campaign, the Save Sarge campaign. So R. Baglio, I have a Maury blue dolphin corralling the rest of tank. Hope he calms down soon or possible rehome. Now, there's a couple ways you can go with these dolphins. They can be complete jerkfish. They can be total jerkfish, and I've had them. I've had both the mellow ones and the jerks, but I've heard that if you keep like 6 of them, they keep themselves occupied with each other, and they love it. They love operating in a group like that. So this may be completely counterintuitive, but adding more of them. Now, in the meantime, because you're probably going to have to quarantine them and do whatever you do, right? What do you do for the immediate violence? Well, you may have to pull him out. You may have to put a divider in, like Whip's World did, give him 1 foot of the tank. Do something so that he doesn't put the other fish in such a state of terror that they stop eating or lose color, become ill, and all that good stuff. So, something, definitely take action. Don't wait, because you'll wake up one morning and you'll find a couple fish belly up, and that's what happens when you hold off with these African cichlids. I mean, it's something bad, and it never ends well. So sometimes fish do calm down, but I find it to be the exception. All right, so I think I've got to everybody, right? Here. How do you do water changes with mesh breeder boxes in the tank? I've done those, and this is from a comment from this guy, and it depends really how far you are from the sink, but you have to figure out some way to prop up that mesh breeder box, whether you use another piece of plastic, or you custom build something, or use some rocks. You drop the water line, and at that last moment you unconnect the breeder box and then drop it onto something that will support it, but keep the top of it above the water line, right? So that the little, the fry don't get eaten, or whatever it is you're keeping in there. So it's a delicate procedure, right? But it can be done. It can be done. You just have to get creative, and you put something in the aquarium. You could even get some of that grill that you can use in front of fluorescent lights, right? And the diffusers in front of fluorescent lights that come in waffle, like in little squares, and cut those. You can build something. You can build a stand that you put in the aquarium, and then you can just sort of drop that on there as the water level goes down. So you can get pretty clever with it, and creative. I mean, you have no choice. You have to. All right, let's see. Are there any cichlids native to Puerto Rico? No, I've heard that there's some from Cuba, but I haven't heard of any from Puerto Rico. Interesting question. I'd be curious to find out what fish are in the freshwater streams and rivers of Puerto Rico. That'd be a real interesting investigation. I plan on going back there. I'd love to take my family there. Of course, I'm part Puerto Rican, right, on my mother's side, and hablo español, so I can go down there and get along. So I would like to find out. The God wants to know what my age is. Take a guess. Take a guess. Actually, I'll save you the trouble. I'm 68 years old. A 6 and an 8. Almost the big 7-0. Almost the big 7-0. So there you have it. It's revealed. So whip swirl, not many in the U.S. either. We do have some beautiful fish in the U.S., and anyone that fishes in the U.S., it's amazing. If you ever caught a bluegill, I mean, or a little sunfish, or I mean, there's some amazing fish in U.S. waters, and even a trout is a beautiful fish. I mean, or a bass. I mean, in my mind, I think they're pretty in their own way. But all right, GP Puerto Rico doesn't have any native freshwater fish. You have to wonder, how is that possible? Angelo, I'll be 68 in July. Angelo, it's the new 40. If you take care of yourself, it's the new 40. That's what I keep telling myself. All right. Thank you, my friends, for joining me for an hour on a Saturday. You are very appreciated. This has been a lot of fun for me. I hope it was fun for you. And let's go ahead and wrap this up. You have been a wonderful group today. And a big shout out to my wonderful moderators, to those of you who support the channel through Patreon, through the Patreon program. Big shout out to you. And thank you to the Cichlid Shack, the Aquarium Co-op, and especially to you folks who are watching right now and who have stayed all the way through. Thank you, my friends. You are the best. And I hope to see you next week. Watch for some upcoming videos. I'm probably going to do a cleaning 10 tank video, and that should be pretty interesting. I still have a lot of material I have to go through, so that'll be it'll be quite an endeavor. We'll see. But thank you, everybody, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye, my friends. You're the best. You rock. Never forget that.